good to go. You just recorded with my sister.
She's the best.
Isn't she so cute?
I'm just so impressed. I'm impressed by both of you, but I couldn't help. I was just so curious. I was like, I need to know, like, how did you become like this?
Yeah. And should she tell you her whole story?
Yes.
Yeah. And it makes sense now, kind of, right?
It does, but like, because she has so much experience with this whole world being there with you and like seeing like what you needed. So of course she has this like interesting take on talent
completely
from like a personal side that there's only so many people that
really understand that completely.
But she's so like all the skills she has. I'm like, wow.
I know. I am so impressed by her.
Was she
day.
always?
And she's my younger sister, so it's very weird to me. Her business card used to say "the boss's boss" because I was like technically the boss, but she was really my boss, you know? But yeah, she's 2 years younger than me. And we worked together forever. And then my dad passed and like she came on and helped me so much. And then it came to a point where we were like, you need to spread your wings and fly. And she just did.
No, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Like your parents, I'm sure your dad is just like so proud, like smiling down for you.
I really hope so.
I know it.
Yeah.
I know it. Like it is so special.
Aww.
Like both of what y'all are doing.
Thank you so much.
It was so sweet to be able to do hers and then like come.
Okay,
right
good.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so you went through a day in your life with her.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I'm sure every day looks extremely different.
It's really hard to do that.
Life has had so many different phases and journeys and projects. And I started following you obviously on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and fell in love with you and then like didn't love who you ended up with, but luckily that's not how your story ends. But let's just start at the beginning because I watched Bachelorette, I've watched Special Forces, I followed you on social, I see how happy and like empowered you have become and I want to just walk through the whole journey with
let's
you.
Do it.
So you're originally from
Alabama.
Yeah. And I know that you were like pageant girl and performing was your thing.
Yeah.
And so how did Bachelorette come into the mix?
Yeah. So I'm from a smaller town in Alabama and like I did pageants as a way to like a way out in some way. You could get scholarships for college and then just like different opportunities to come from that. And so,
but you always wanted to get out. You knew you did.
I wanted the option, and that was weirdly the way that I saw like there's a lot of different options, but I was like, hey, this will work. And I liked being on stage, and you know, at the time, like I liked putting on a pretty dress and doing my thing, and so, and it did help me with so many life skills. Like it was great. And I ended up winning Miss Alabama USA to compete for the Miss USA pageant. And that was at like a really pivotal point in my life because I had a earlier podcast and we were just talking about the differences of like where you live and like your culture. Like for me, a lot of my friends got married, engaged in college, like married the next year. So I felt behind because I had been in a really like a long-term relationship and then we broke up and I was like, oh no. Like it felt like
that was going to be it. And now
I'm behind, which it blows my mind at 30 and being like, oh my gosh, like it just perspective change, but that's all I knew. And even my mom got married like early and you know it just that's everyone around me.
Culture was
and I did pageants like for a few years, like high school, college, but then I decided I was going to stop. And then I said this earlier and it sounds so bad, but my mom was like, I had this breakup that I was just like, oh no, I'm stuck in Alabama because I thought I was going to get married and it was going to be great. Like we were going to live in a different town in Alabama.
Yeah, you hadn't fully thought the plan.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, I stayed here 1 year, like ended up graduating college in like the summer. I didn't do it in the spring. I graduated in the summer and then I'd stayed and I hadn't like really made a plan because I thought I was going to get engaged, you know? And I'm like, oh no.
No.
I didn't get my Mrs. degree. What?
Yeah.
that was the thought.
Right.
And
you probably at that point are having like what felt like a midlife crisis.
I did. I was
you're
like,
not supposed to be having that at that time.
Yeah, because I just felt like, oh no, I have a lot of potential and like I could have done all these things, and I kind of just got wrapped up in what everyone's doing around me.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then, like I said, I'd kind of stopped doing pageants, but the breakup was hard on me. And my mom, being my mom, was like, Hannah, you're really skinny. You sure you don't want to do this pageant?
You look really good. Like, you've got that breakup glow.
And I was like, no, Mom. And the pageant's like in like a few weeks. I can't sign up. And she was like, I'm going to call. And if they'll take you, will you do it? And I was like, whatever. And of course they did. But I had done the pageant and like not even like made it into like the top before. And then I ended up winning. And but I think because just the space I was in, I didn't fully care.
Completely. It's so interesting how when you put that energy into the world and it's like, take it or leave it, whatever, how sometimes then some things are just meant to be.
Yeah. And I feel like I had that energy then and then forgot about it. And then, but
now we're like searching for that energy.
But I'm starting to feel it a little bit.
Yeah. As you become happier, I think as you become more confident in yourself, you're not so concerned and consumed with everything else that's happening around you.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I ended up winning that, then did my typical spiral at that point and did not fulfill the dream of becoming Miss USA. But in that, I met some videographer who was doing some stuff for the pageant for me. And she like randomly nominated me for The Bachelor. Like I never watched the show. I don't really watch reality TV.
Okay.
Like I, of course, like know your background, but I never watched like The Hills. I didn't watch any of those shows or even Bachelor. Like that was just not something that I watched. But of course I knew about it because everybody watched it.
Completely.
All the shows. And so I was like, I get a random call. I'm like, this has to be a joke. I don't know. It's from this random videographer.
He just did it without telling you?
It was a she, but yeah, she just did it. And just, I don't know. She just felt, I talked to her later and she was like, I don't know. I just felt like you'd be good for the show.
Like you needed to do it. I mean, she saw something in you, obviously.
But I don't know. Like, it's so bizarre. Like, when I got the call from the show, I was calling all my friends and like, nobody.
You're like, is this real?
Yeah. I'm like, is this a joke?
Yeah.
But it wasn't. And I just, during that same time, my mom's like, what do you have to lose?
Completely.
Like, you're still trying to figure out what you're going to do next. And so I just like went for it and I just kept getting like more of these like auditions
and further along.
Yeah.
And you thought that's what you wanted at that time. Like you thought you had just been broken up with and you thought that you were in a place where like I was just might as well just go out and find my Prince Charming.
Well.
Yeah,
like, it
might as well. It's
just
a young and immature thing.
And I really did think, I think what maybe separated me from some people and maybe made it like in a way, like why I was the way that I was so naive that I thought maybe I will genuinely like find my person.
Yeah,
like I fully was like, okay, this is just plopping in my lap. I better like start reading some books about getting engaged and falling in love because I need to take some notes because this is what's going to happen.
So that journey, would you say, and we don't have to dig into like all the ins and outs of Bachelor, Bachelorette stuff, but like, and people ask me all the time, would you say that you have any regrets about it or like that you wish you didn't do it? Or, I mean, I know that I feel like so grateful for my history because it got me here, but there's definitely parts of it that I wish that I had handled better.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think some people are like, no regrets. There's not anything I would change. Like, that's not true. There's a lot of things that like, if I had the wisdom I had now that I maybe would have not got myself into or handled a conversation differently or been able to pick up on certain things. But just like you said, like I wouldn't have the opportunities that I have now if I had not done that.
Yeah.
And kind of what we talked about earlier, like my bubble of life was so small and so like a lot of sameness and none of that's bad. I do want to like, there are times where I'm just like, life is like so beautiful and
And
that
in
and
s in the
in the
simplicity.
simplicity of
Yeah.
it. And life has gotten a little bit more complicated, but it also opened up my world so much. I had never been anywhere overseas before I was on The Bachelor, and my first flight was to Singapore. Like,
So
so
amazing.
crazy, and it just,
Yeah.
like, opened my world up in, like, a really beautiful way,
Yeah.
and I will always be thankful for that. And honestly, the first time anybody actually asked me how I felt about something, now granted, as you know, like, a producer is probably not the person that you should spill your full
Well,
guts
that's
out
I
to,
wanted to talk about that too.
but
Yeah.
for me, I was like, "Wait, you actually care what I think?" Like,
Mhm.
I never had that, where talking
Interesting.
about, like, what do I feel?
Your feelings.
And so
Uh-huh.
I really, like, loved that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um
And it opened up your eyes to that level of communication.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then it also is scary because
It's not
you
in,
don't
like,
know that
the right
you're
hands.
you're saying it's not to the right person. Like you're
Mm-mm.
being vulnerable, but not to the right person.
Yes.
Okay, so I have to share something that's genuinely changed the way I understand my body, and that's the Clue app. So I know most women have heard of period tracking, but Clue does so much more than that. Built by a women-led team of scientists and health experts, Clue uses an evidence-based algorithm to help you connect the dots between your unique cycle, your hormones, and your overall health. Clue helps back up your intuition with real data about your cycle-related symptoms. So I've been using Clue forever as I've been on such a long fertility journey, and it's been important for me to track my periods, but more than that, just for me to like know what's going on in my body during my cycle. So it helps me notice my mood shifts and patterns, like when I'm feeling more anxious or when I'm sleeping better, when the PMS hits me hard. I track it all, and it's finally having proof that you're not crazy or imagining things. I've even started bringing my Clue data to the check-ins with my doctor, and it's actually such a helpful resource to have with you, whether you're trying to conceive, navigating perimenopause, managing a condition, or just want to feel more in tune with yourself and your body. Clue is an invaluable health companion that meets you where you are. As a German company based in Berlin, Clue data is always protected by the strictest European privacy laws, no matter where you are in the world. Visit helloclue.com and use code WIT at checkout for 90% off an annual Clue subscription. That's HELLOCLUE.com and use code WIT for 90% off 12 months of Clue Plus. The Clue app is available on Android and iOS. Summer is in the air and the islands are definitely calling, and the one place I can't stop thinking about is Aruba. I honestly can't believe I still haven't been. I'm dying to go. I cannot help myself from daydreaming about a tropical summer vacation there. I need to get out of LA. Of course, Aruba has the postcard perfect beaches. Big shout out to Eagle Beach for just being named TripAdvisor's best beach of 2025, which is saying a lot when you think of how many stunning beaches there are out there. But Aruba is more than just a pretty place. What really makes Aruba stand out is the heart of it, the people. Aruba offers a unique Caribbean experience because when you give the island and its nature the respect and love it deserves, you're rewarded with an incredible feeling that relaxes you and sends you off with a happy glow. There's a sense of balance and connection that feels rare. That's why they say when you love Aruba, it loves you back. Aruba is the perfect place to nourish your spirit, bring your family closer, and help everyone unplug from all the chaos. How good does a frozen pina colada and the sound of ocean waves sound right now? Ugh, I'm dying to go, and I can't wait for the day that I finally get to bring Sunny and Timmy there. I know they're going to love it. I can just see him running around in the water and laughing, and I would just love to go. So if you're a big daydreamer like me and are planning your next escape, I think it's about time we all go to Aruba. Plan your next trip at aruba.com. That's aruba.com. So I had the same situation, which is so interesting because I ended up marrying a producer, which
No
is funny.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Timmy was the location producer. So I didn't really have to deal with him day to day. He wasn't
Yeah.
talking to me about what we needed to talk about in the scene or any kind of that stuff. But like we got really close because, when you're filming
Mhm.
something, it's like summer camp.
Yeah,
Like, you get so close with the crew.
totally.
Did you have any experiences like that, or good or bad experiences with producers? Like, any best friends or any ones that really led you astray? Like,
So I don't know if this is similar, probably different, than your experience. We don't have our phones.
okay.
We don't have any communication with, like, your outside world.
Yes, no,
So
we do. We still do.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so all you have are the producers,
Right.
and their job is to make a television show. So but you're so in the summer camp of it all that you're like, "They're really, like, care about me," and I don't think that, like, they're heartless, don't care, but they also have a job and have to, like, feed their family, and would I have done things differently without maybe, like, the certain producers I had? Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Definitely.
But at the same time, it's like you're so young, you don't know those
I
things,
had
and
no idea.
sometimes ignorance is bliss, and it's just so beautiful to just jump into something
Mhm.
like that, and, like, I always talk about on this podcast, like, just do it, just go for
Yeah.
it, Like, if you have a decent gut feeling about it, just go for it, and I
Yeah.
think you and I are are good examples of what can come from it, but then again, there's also, like, the thing is, I feel like if you are not a good person, like, that's gonna
For
shine.
sure.
That's gonna shine. So,
Mhm.
like, whoever you are is going to shine. You can get a bad edit, but, like, people are gonna root for you or not.
For
You know what I
sure.
mean? They can tell if you're getting a bad edit.
But I've been on both sides. I've had,
Yeah.
like, a bad edit and also been, like, made to be like a hero. Like, I've experienced both sides of that,
Uh-huh,
and it
uh-huh.
is hard, but also that just showed, like, my humanness. Like,
Exactly.
every person could probably get a bad edit
Mhm.
if you took a snapshot of one thing.
Oh my
I
god, for
do believe
sure.
that.
For sure.
Thankfully, I feel like I did have a more whole picture of myself. Maybe not the one that I would there are still some big parts cut out.
One of my best friends was a producer on The City, and
Okay.
she ended up quitting after The City was over because it was too stressful for her. Like, we
Yeah.
got too close, and she had, like, held on to too many of my secrets and just felt so guilty about it, and she was like, "I don't wanna do this anymore."
No, I
Yeah.
had a producer on my season also kinda do the same thing, just being like, "This is it's a hard job."
Yeah.
And like, especially, like, these reality, like, real life type shows. I mean, it
Completely.
has to, like, take a toll. And
Completely.
even, like, especially for, like, The Bachelor, people who work on that show, like, it's hard to have, like, your own relationship
Right. I
because
know.
you're, like, gone all the time and so invested in other people's story. It's like
I
it's
know.
a hard
The
job.
culture of that is really hard.
Yeah.
So, did you make, like, best friends on the show that you still have?
So I have one very, very good friend from my season on The Bachelor.
Uh-huh.
Um, and she's, like, one of my
Oh
bridesmaids.
my god,
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah,
Oh
but
my god, amazing.
I will say I didn't handle my coping mechanism with anxiety as I really shut people out.
Uh-huh.
And so during that time, especially, like, right after my season, I don't really know that many people from the Bachelor world in, like, a real intimate way because I went straight from The Bachelor to and, of course, the girls that were on the show, but they all went to, like, Bachelor in Paradise. Have my own experience with Bachelorette, and
Right.
we were they were filming those, like, they overlapped a little bit.
So they all got really
Yeah,
close,
and
and
I
you were
was kinda
doing your
doing my
own.
thing,
Mhm.
and then, the guys on my season were great, but you also, like, date them and then dump them, so it's
Complete
like it's a different
Yeah.
dynamic, and then after that, I went straight on Dancing with the Stars, and
Mhm.
I was really, like, really struggling during that, and then COVID happened, and so I didn't know how to let people in on how I was feeling, and I
Mhm.
felt like every person's experience on that show is different,
Mhm.
and with the way that, like, it ended for me, I just felt, like, a little embarrassed, but also,
Yeah.
like, I had to prove something with, like, Dancing with the Stars, like, I had to
Uh-huh.
win. Like,
Uh-huh.
I was like, "I have to win," because I just, like,
'Cause you felt
lost.
like you lost the
Yeah.
Bachelorette.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
it didn't go the way that, like, I thought, and so I was just really dealing with, like, a lot of, like,
Personal
internal
stuff, yeah.
thoughts, and so that is, like, one of those things I would have done differently is, like,
Mhm.
even though everybody's experience is different and, like, I do think mine felt pretty traumatic for me being so naive and not in it for like fame or party or whatever. I took it really internally, and it wasn't like being on The Bachelor, so fun. Honestly, anybody like being contestant, that is fun. Bachelor in Paradise,
Yeah,
so
also
fun. Being a lead was really, really hard.
I bet.
And so I didn't really reach out to people. I kind of went really internal.
I do the same thing. Yeah, I definitely do the same thing. And I didn't really talk to a lot of people from our show either. And I also think I shut them out a little like during while we were filming too. Like I think that I was afraid to get too close because I was afraid if they like kind of knew everything about me that they would use it against me. And I really kept them at arm's distance, and I had my own separate life at college and would just go into film with Lauren and was like really scared of all that. And then kind of like, and I think I can't speak for Lauren, but like she kind of moved away and started her own life. And I feel like I did the same thing. Like it's just kind of, it's like these people that I did this insane thing with, but not ever really made real relationships with them.
Yeah, because there's a lot of probably like unresolved, like the feelings that come up from
when you're
around them.
Right. There's so much mistrust. Yeah. And so it doesn't feel safe. So it's like, why would you connect to those people or reach out to those people? Yeah.
And it maybe didn't have to do with just them. It's just the whole experience.
Exactly.
So like your brain kind of just
puts
connects
them
it
in
together, and it's like, oh, I don't know if I can trust you, or that was a really hurtful moment in my life. So I just, I definitely have dealt with that.
You're so amazing though. You go on to do Dancing with the Stars, which is just like so physically and mentally taxing.
It's crazy.
But so was that really just like an internal thing for you? You were like, I just want to conquer this. Like what was the goal there?
I was so, first of all, I felt so like I'm just this girl from like Alabama. I have no connections. Like I just felt like, okay, I've been given this opportunity. I have to prove something.
I have to do something with it.
I have to do something with it because this all went astray because I was going on there reading the marriage books ready to get married, you know, like, and this didn't work out.
It's so funny how at that time though, it didn't work out, but how it was, this is just such a part of the bigger, beautiful picture.
I know, but I really struggled with that. So dancing for me, I was like, I have to win this. And like I did, but one of my,
I did.
And I love that show so much.
You do? I've thought about it.
You should totally do it.
I can't, but like I definitely have, it's popped into my head before. My sisters always make jokes about it because I love to dance.
Yeah.
But it's so intense.
It's so intense. But just like being on that show is just like such a cool experience.
Yeah.
But I really struggled during that show because it was just like right off of Bachelorette. And I mean, it truly was just like, I think like 2 months later, maybe not even 2 months.
But weren't people like rooting for you and cheering you on?
But
it didn't matter to you.
It didn't matter. I had never been to therapy. I'd never had any like real counsel on everything. And I had shut the people out that did know me. And so I was just like, I just have to win. And if I could go back, I'm so glad that we won. But also I would have just like had a little bit more fun with it and just not taking myself so seriously with it. But I also like, I was the very first one to dance on the show. And as somebody, I'm not really a performer. I just like do my real life. And I remember like, I can remember they have like these little clicks that go off right before the music. And I was like, I remember like first time, I'm like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
like this is like live for millions of people. Like
why did I make this decision?
I'm like, all right, I gotta go.
I guess there's no choice.
Blacked out like every week.
So do you mean like you have to win? You had to win, as in like you were just like
prove
a
something
beast.
to myself.
Like no, but do you think you committed to it harder than anybody else there?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes. But here's the thing about me. I was talking to your sister earlier. Like a day in the life is really hard for me because I'm like so just unhinged and not efficient.
Me too.
But in a certain, like, I'm so good at these shows where it's like your outside world doesn't exist anymore and you are locked in. nobody can beat me in something like that.
You can really turn it off.
I have dissociation issues.
You have, yeah.
I mean, it's called dissociation, and I'm working on it.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, but like I can, and that's not good, but it does help with the competition
it can be
show.
good, I'm sure, if you like direct it in the appropriate way.
In these like shows, but like for real life, that's
not.
I've realized is not great. But for these shows, it really helps me because I can just like lock in. I don't need to hear from anybody from my like, I'm dancing.
So I know you've all heard of Venmo, but did you know Venmo can be used for more than paying your friends back? Please let me introduce you to the Venmo debit card, which lets you spend your Venmo balance in so many ways. You can Venmo this, that, and pretty much everything. If you can shop for it, you can pay for it. With the Venmo debit card, I can Venmo this microphone I'm speaking into, the shirt I'm wearing, the tea I'm drinking, the sunscreen I still need to put on my face for the day, and the grocery delivery that's on its way to me right now. The Venmo debit card unlocks all new ways to use Venmo, and it's wildly convenient. Got paid back for drinks? Use your balance to pay for your ride home. But here's the main selling point for me. The card actually Venmos you back. Similar to a credit card, but not actually a credit card. When you pay with your Venmo debit card, you can earn up to 15% cash back at some of your favorite places. And this card really stands out. It's so cute. It comes in all different colors so you can match it to your vibe, your aesthetic. Always love those personal touches. Venmo everything with the Venmo debit card. Visit venmo.me/debit to learn more and sign up today. That's venmo.me/debit to learn more and sign up today. Venmo purchase restrictions apply. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Card may be used everywhere MasterCard is accepted. We need to talk about Special Forces.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do you know that my husband and I have watched it and reacted to it on YouTube?
No.
Oh my God. So
all the seasons?
Yeah, definitely yours.
Yeah.
We just finished this past season. Yeah. So we watch it, and we had Rudy and Fox and not Foxy, Rudy and Billy.
I love Billy
on our show. Yeah. We're obsessed with it. We love it, and we watched you.
Yeah, what made you like?
So
get into it.
Well, it was more just like we were working with Fox, and they gave us like a list of the shows that we could react to, and we were like, oh, this one looks fun.
Yeah.
And so we started watching it, and I was so impressed by you.
Thank you.
That looks so intense. Is it even more intense than it even looks?
Way more intense.
You look at them and you're like, oh, I could do that. But then I really, when I actually think about myself there, I'm like, no, there's no way.
Yeah.
But I think it's easy to say that when you're watching it on TV. No. So sleeping, like that, eating. What are you eating? How are you sleeping? Like, do you have to be lights out at a certain time? There's so many questions.
No. So that was the hardest part, which you can't really capture on, this show that's an hour long, is the conditions of which you live.
Yeah, that's what looks
that
like
wanted
worst.
me. That was the time that I was like, I just want to tap out of this because I can't live like this. And not even, I don't even say I'm like a super diva. It's just really tough. You're barely sleeping. The sleep that you get is so just. You're always like on edge. The like cleanliness
is disgusting.
It's really hard.
Yeah, because you're not. Where are you showering?
Under like this little outdoor shower that drops like water, like like driblets,
just
driblets, and all you get is a toothbrush and a bar of soap.
That's it,
and deodorant.
And do you bring like moisturizers
or
anything?
Stuff. No.
You can't bring anything.
No.
Underwear.
So anybody who's ever on the show, you only get 3 pairs of underwear.
Okay.
And we were there for 10 days.
Yeah.
And
so everyone stinks.
Everyone stinks. And like you have that one bar of soap that you like can wash your like underwear with. But what I did is I was going to start my period. Thank goodness, I guess from stress, it like delayed.
Oh my
But
God.
I was like, okay, well, I can use my period. It's like, I need period panties. So I got like, those panties that I got like an extra pair that I
have the
could
padding
wear.
in them. Oh
And
my
so,
God.
but like, I'm so glad I did because I had at
Yeah.
least another pair of underwear. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was really gross.
So it's
The
just
whole
like,
thing.
you're
The
so
toilet.
tired.
Oh my
I know.
God.
So someone has to sit out there and be with you while you're pooping.
Yeah.
Did you have someone that was like your go-to person, or
Well,
because
by
people
the
keep
end,
leaving?
no, yeah, by the end, you're like, yeah, like you have like this, and like Danny, who's
Yeah.
like this really attractive football player that I'm having to go to the bathroom with. I'm
Yeah.
like,
I thought maybe
this
you guys
is
were gonna have a thing.
no. I was like, this is really awful. He was so sweet. Like we definitely connected on the show, but like a brother. Like he was the
Yeah.
best, but like yeah, like rooting for you to go to the bathroom. Like
It's
it was
so
just
crazy.
really weird.
It's so weird, but you get that comfortable with everybody.
It's so crazy. You're like, I was only with these people. Like, well, we got there because it was like the end of COVID, like them having to take all the precautions. So we had to get there early. Me, Danny, and then like Nastia Luca and Beverly Mitchell. There was a few of us at this resort while we had to quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to see each other a little bit and like figure out like who's here.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of got close.
That's nice.
Before we weren't getting to hang out all day, but just
Yeah.
like a familiar face of like, okay,
Yeah,
we weren't
can do
supposed
this
to do that,
together.
but we just would go on our walks or our training before
Yeah.
at the same time. And so, just knowing everybody was like anxious, but then when you're and like preparing for it, and then when he got on the show, I mean, the days felt like one day felt like 4 days.
I can't even imagine. They seem like you're doing a million things.
Yeah.
So they're waking you up first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And what are you eating? Like they said meat and potatoes, but like, is that legit?
I don't remember a potato. I remember a piece of white bread and a hard-boiled egg.
No, stop it.
No, like a piece of white bread and like a hard-boiled egg. And like beans in the morning, like baked beans.
Oh my God.
It was really bad.
Really bad.
And then we would have like these like weird soupy things to eat.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, really bad. We
Yeah.
called one thing corned beef ass because it was supposed to be corned beef hash, but we're like, we were like, for sure this was dog food.
Yes. That's amazing.
But you're like so hungry that you eat it. And you're like, this is actually awful. You probably couldn't pay us in like typical day to do this, but you're so hungry that you're like, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel at the end of it like you had really learned so much about yourself? Like what was the biggest
It's the best
transformation?
show.
It was.
It was the best experience. It was so hard, but like anytime I have somebody like message me about doing the show, or now that I was like on the first season, people will like reach out. I'm like, you have to do it. Like you have to do it because we are all so much stronger than we think we are.
Mm-hmm.
And it came up in my life at such a great time because I was having physical manifestations of anxiety in my body, like really, really bad for like the year before. Like I could barely work out, could barely walk upstairs. And like, I didn't really like talk about it because it felt like, what is wrong with me? And was like diagnosed with like everything you could think of. And I mean, there's maybe, I don't know. I didn't like take
this
that
was
well.
like after Dancing with the Stars. This is
After
so
like during COVID.
Yeah.
And yeah, it had a really, really hard time. So like, I just felt so weak. Felt like my body was like betraying me.
Yeah.
And I had just started working out a little bit. So I was really apprehensive to do the show because I'm like, this is like the most like
vulnerable I've ever been.
Like, I don't feel good in my body. I also like feel like scared I'm going to get hurt because I was just like getting hurt all the time because of everything. So inflamed.
That's so crazy.
And I was just like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I don't have to. And this show was like, I didn't have to win. Like, because Dancing with the Stars, I felt like, I was like, I have to win. I was like, I'm just going to do the best I can. And I'm going to really listen to my body. And I've actually talked about Dr. Amen quite a few times on this, but like have you heard of? Yeah.
Yes.
He really helped me through all this so much.
Wow.
Like I was really struggling with all like my mental health stuff and done the whole brain mapping, and he really was there to help. And he was like, I really think you can do this. And like, he gave me a lot of techniques to do. And I think that's what set me apart is like physically, I could only do what I could do. And I did push
Completely.
myself, but like mentally, I had prepared myself for that.
For
And
that
I'd,
kind of an experience.
yeah.
What
And
were
I
the
didn't put pressure. I actually didn't put pressure on myself. I was like, I tried to remind myself that everything was going to pass. So like, don't give up just like in a weak moment,
Mhm.
but really like think about like, is this all that I've got? And if it's all that I've got, then like I've done the most. But every time I came to that place
You
and
were
that
like,
came
"I
a
can
lot,
do
I was
more."
like, I really think I can do a little bit more. And then it always seemed to be done right at
Yeah.
that time. So
Yeah.
shout out to him for like really helping me. And yeah, it was truly like such a great experience for proving myself
For
wrong.
you to know that and that it wasn't just about the winning portion
No,
of it. It was really just
I was
like your own
shocked. I
personal
was,
boundaries.
yeah,
I bet you were. What were
yeah,
some of the things that Document like taught you? Can you think of any?
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that really helped me to get ready for the show, like I said, people call and be like, "What did you do to physically get in shape?" I was like, I was barely like doing anything at the time. I did a
Mhm.
lot of like hiking and wearing like a weighted vest to get
Uh-huh.
prepared,
Uh-huh.
but with Dr. Amen, we did a lot of like box breathing, like learning how to do that, and hypnosis. He has a app, I think it's called like Happy Brain.
Uh-huh.
And he has like some like hypnosis like things on there that I for pains.
Oh,
And
interesting.
so it was like he was like, you're going to be in pain. Like most of the time it's going to be a painful situation.
Uh-huh.
So how are you going to where are you going to
Like
go?
meditate out of it. Like,
Yeah,
uh-huh.
and that really helped. So
That's
really just focusing on my mental health
completely. It's all about mental strength.
and
It seems
people
like that's what
think
they say. It's
yeah,
all about mental toughness.
yeah,
It's like your body. I mean, yes, there's certain contestants where you can tell that they're physically just they can't handle it. But when
yes,
it comes down to it, if you're like moderately healthy, it comes down to mental strength.
totally.
Yeah.
And yeah, and there are some contestants that go on that show that that there's gonna be they
Like
always
Tara
say
Reid, I was like, this isn't gonna happen for you.
yeah,
But
they
not
have
to be
like
a
a day
bitch.
like 4 or 5 or they've made it shorter now, but,
Uh-huh.
that it is that day, it's like if you're not physically capable and you've somehow made it the whole way through, like, you're not gonna make it.
Completely.
You're not gonna make it past that day,
Yeah.
and then it is just all mental strategy and, like and the whole time it is, but that's when it really comes down to, like, this sucks, but, like, the physical part is not as extreme, and
Like
it's
you
more
can get through that.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
definitely this day where I felt like, "Okay, nothing's gonna be harder than that physically," and nothing was.
Right.
The rest is all, like, can I just, like, push through this?
The
And
discomfort.
yeah.
Completely. That makes so much sense. Okay, so there hasn't been TV since that,
No.
right? No.
Yeah.
Okay, so a plan do you wanna be back on TV? Like, I know obviously we're gonna get into your
Yeah.
book, right? Oh my god, yeah, you're doing
Yeah.
you're co-hosting Bachelor
Yeah,
in
so I'm
Paradise.
so I'm
Right.
back.
I was like, I knew this.
Yes, but this just happened, like it got announced very recently, and I have only known about it for not too long,
That's
so
like a dream job. So you get to
yeah.
go be at the bar and, like,
Yeah.
make cocktails for
And
the
chat with everyone, and it's truly like, um I bet you would feel this way if there was, like, something with your shows, like, it kind of feels like a redemption story in a way
Mhm,
of,
mhm.
like, "Okay, I'm not the drama,
No.
but I'm there. I get to be the person that I wish I woulda had."
Yes.
And I really that is, like, my hope of, like, I've done so much work, and I've really healed my and so in the process, but, like,
Mhm.
have healed my relationship stuff, and, like, there's so much that I have learned now that I wish I woulda known then that
Of
I can, like,
course.
pour into somebody, and, like, I do believe that if I would've people ask, like, "Oh my gosh, is the show real? Bachelor, Paradise, all that." I'm like, "Yes."
Mhm.
And I've always said, I think it's a really hard way to start a relationship, but as I learn now, if I would have had all the skills that I have now,
Mhm.
I do think you could if you found another partner that had, like, a growth mindset and really was also genuine about the whole process, I
Mhm.
do think you could find
I
love.
agree. I agree. I think that the whole process, these kids are just too young.
Yes.
Sorry to call them kids, but like,
No,
it's just everyone's too young for this
mhm.
process and they don't really fully know themselves yet. So
Yeah.
it's like, how are you expected to find the love of your life when you haven't even figured out who you are? Like, it's
Yeah.
just not,
Totally.
it's a recipe for failure, which
Yeah.
most of them are. And like for you, it's just sad. I mean, granted, the whole big picture is beautiful,
Yeah.
but it's just sad to think that at like 22 years old that you thought like you were a failure
I
and your
know.
story was done and like that everyone was judging you. It's just
Yeah.
like it's so ridiculous.
It is,
Yeah.
but, like, that's just, like, where my brain was, that
Yeah.
I only knew what I knew,
Completely.
and, if I can help somebody who, it's not working out for them on the beach, like, to
Yeah.
be
Can you
able to
just be really honest with people?
yeah, yeah, like,
I feel like
"Hey,
you
he's
will.
not into you."
Just be like fully,
Yeah.
like I'm done.
Or,
I
"You're too
die for
good
you.
for them."
That too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Completely.
No, I want to be, and I wanna, like, just, like, give them some nuggets of, like, "You are so much more than this," or, "Hey, actually, this is a guy who really does wanna pursue you, and
Completely.
go for it. Like, this is a
Completely.
good guy. Don't go with this guy.
Right.
This is so typical. Don't do
Yeah,
that."
no, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I'm
So,
excited.
how long will you have to be there for?
I think it's like a month.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah,
so exciting.
it's
Will
gonna be
your
really fun.
fiancé go with you?
So, I think he's gonna try to come out, like, halfway through,
Okay.
just because I will have some downtime.
Yeah.
And we're getting married,
I
like,
know,
right
so
before.
tell me wait,
So
you the night before you leave?
no, no, no.
Oh.
Like, I didn't mean to say right before.
Uh,
I'm going there
we can
right
edit that out.
before
Yeah.
I get married. Like,
Okay.
we only it's kind of crazy timing. So, we don't wanna be away from each other for, like, in total, like, 6 weeks right
No,
before our
that's too
wedding.
long. Yeah.
So, he's gonna come and, like, break it up, and
Yeah.
so we can see each other and just
Yeah.
have some FaceTime.
Okay,
Yeah.
so tell me about him. So when did you meet him? Because when I
Yeah.
watched you on Special Forces, I don't think you were with
No,
anybody.
I
And
was with him. But
oh,
I
you
did yeah,
were?
yeah.
Okay, maybe you just didn't talk about it.
No.
And I remember in my head being like, she is such a catch.
Oh my
Like,
gosh, you're the
what?
best.
Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that. And then and then I started following you and was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, she's with this super cute guy.
Yeah, he's so awesome. He's just I hate to say, like, normal guy, but he's so special.
Yeah.
But he's not, like, a part of this world at all, and,
Yeah.
um, I will say, though, like, our relationship has been a journey because when I met him, I wasn't being really intentional about dating. I was
Mhm.
just trying to, like, get over everything
Mhm. Like
and
get by
just
even.
get by, and
Mhm.
I really had to heal how I view the beginning of our relationship because it's not the picture perfect story or the way that I wish I would have shown up in our relationship.
Mhm.
But I've been able to rewrite that and, like, be able to see, like, oh, like, our love story is still special, even though I maybe didn't show up in the way that I wanted to. But he
Completely.
continued to pursue me, and I was like, hey, like, I'm messed up.
Yeah.
I was so honest. I'm like, I am so messed up right now. He was with me during that time where, like, my body was breaking down. I was super anxious, like,
Mhm.
didn't know what was going on. And, through special forces, everything. And, like, it has been such a journey together to both, like, we both had to heal, like, the way that we showed up
Like
for
past
ourselves and
behaviors.
past
Yeah.
behaviors together, and really choose each other every day. It wasn't
Yeah.
like this, like, oh, we just fell into this magical romance. Like, it was hard. I
Mhm.
was in, like, a hard place to start a relationship,
Mhm.
but he
Mhm.
just continued to be there for
To
me
show up.
and
Mhm.
show up and prove me wrong about how somebody's going to respond to, like, the messy version of myself.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's been really sweet.
He saw
And
the light in you and he
yeah,
had the patience to see it through.
and he still
Yeah.
does. He
And he
still
still
does.
does. It's
Yeah.
really beautiful. It
Yeah.
reminds me of Paige. I don't know if she told you about like her husband, but she had met him right before my dad passed.
Mm,
And it was one of those things where it was like he could have either bailed in that moment or really dug in, and he
mhm.
dug in and he ended up after just like a couple months of dating her, and I'm probably getting the timeline wrong, like moving in with my mom and Paige to my parents' house after my dad passed and just like really showed up. And
Wow.
I think those are these are men when they see that in you and they just like continue to show up. Those are the men that we choose as our forever partners.
For sure.
Yeah,
like he's a forever partner.
Yeah.
Like, so, and even this kind of goes into like my book.
Yes.
It's the 4 engagement rings of Sybil Rain, which I haven't had 4 engagement rings, but I've had more than one.
Yeah. Just 2, right?
Just 2.
Yeah.
Just 2. And she is the part of me that I think sometimes I have a hard time with, that like messy part that has let a lot of past relational experiences not allow me to like show up for the one that's right in front of me and like accept that. So I've had to learn how to like love myself to be able to like
love the messiness.
Yeah.
Love the messy parts of yourself.
Because like this man is loving the messy parts, but if I can't love myself, then I can't show up to love him the way that he's loving me. So like I've got to like do a lot of this work on my own. It's really hard to say like, oh my gosh, I might be like the problem.
The problem.
Like,
I know.
am the problem.
I know. I think that all the time.
Look, he has his own stuff.
But everybody needs to take accountability.
Yeah.
We all have problems. We can all be better versions of ourselves for our partners.
But it's so easy to be like, oh, he's not doing this, this, and this. And so that's why I'm unhappy. It has to be him. It's like, oh no, it's me.
Yeah.
It's things. And so we've had to go on that together. And similar to the character in my new book, like she is a runaway bride.
Yeah.
And she had this great guy that she just, at the end of the day, like her past stuff caught up to her and she freaked out. And honestly, that could be me. I've had moments of commitment jumps that have been really scary and I've felt that. Sybil takes it to the extreme. And she has to go on that journey of like doing a lot of hard work, looking in the mirror. And then she has the very chaotic experience of trying to go on like a very like needed vacay and then runs into not one, but 2 of her ex-fiancés and has to like up close and personal, like deal with that. And then, you know, be able to choose the love that she deserves. And so that has definitely been my journey.
Completely.
And that has been going against my patterns. Your sister asked me this, but like a quote that I love is choices lead and feelings follow. And because if I went with every way that I felt, I would make terrible decisions. There are still sometimes that you have that like gut feeling. There's
but
still
not all of our feelings are true.
Not all of our feelings are true. And I made great television following all the like feelings.
All the whims. Yes. All your whims.
But choosing a partner, choosing a life that is actually the life you want means sometimes you're going to have some discomfort because you have to change to make that choice.
To make it happen.
A reality.
Completely.
And that's been my story for sure.
Yeah. So I want to get into your book, but just because you talked about messiness a little, like what are some of the things that you would consider like messy about yourself?
I'm not, like I said, I'm not efficient at all.
Yeah.
There's not one thing I do with efficiency.
So not like a type A person.
So I say there's a part of me that wants to be type A so bad.
Yes.
I don't. But I don't have the skills for it.
I'll never be. And so then I'll get mad at myself for not being a certain way.
Because I'm not actually okay with my type B-ness.
Same. But how do we accept our type B-ness? Because it's never going to change.
Because we're, I think, achievers.
Yeah.
So have you done like the Enneagram?
No, but I should. Because
I'm an achiever. And so I want all the type A skills because it would make that easier.
Getting to your goals easier. Yeah.
But I just have to do it the hard way.
I know. I'm the same.
I just have to do it the hard, long way. Adam, with my fiance, was like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I thought about that for a second. I was like, oh my God.
Is that true?
It makes sense because everything I do is the same way that's like, could be done so much better.
I know. But I think it's true. I think we have to just learn to accept and love that about ourselves.
Yeah. I'm still not fully there. I'm not going to lie and say that I'm there. I get really upset.
Yeah. Okay. So your book. So you're writing, like, what inspired you? Obviously your own story.
Yeah.
But this is so fun. So is this like a really just light, fun summer read, right?
It is, but everything that I do, it's important for me there to be a level of authenticity.
Of
So I
course.
have to write from a place that I know, like, thank God I've never been in Sybil's shoes and, like,
Yeah.
been on a beach and having to be with, my ex-fiancés and all the things that she has to do, which is fun, and, like, the chaos of it all, which makes it such a fun beach read.
Yeah.
She ends up having a fake boyfriend. It's all the tropes, like, in romance novels, there's, like, these classic tropes. So, like,
Uh-huh.
this one has a second chance romance. There's a fake boyfriend. We have some forced proximity where they're all kind of together, and so you can't, like, escape it. Like, you
Yeah.
have to, like,
Deal with
deal with
it.
it.
Yeah.
But at the base of what this book is, it is truly a book about self-acceptance and
Yeah.
self-love
Yeah.
and not learning to not let your past decisions or experiences deny you, like, the goodness that's right in front of you,
Right.
the
That you
love that's
deserve.
right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important to me in every book that I've written, is that there's actually, like, this depth where, like, yes, you're at the beach and you're having, like, your margarita and, like, diving into this book, but then you can, like, really relate to who Sybil is and see a little bit of yourself in her.
Completely.
'Cause that makes it more of a rootable story.
Completely.
And that's, like, the biggest thing when writing that I care about.
Yeah. Have you
Mhm.
always been a writer?
I have. I've always loved it. I've always been an avid reader.
Uh-huh.
So this is, like, I always say, my first dream come true, because
Yeah.
everything else, like, I couldn't have dreamt up.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the book you knew, like that was something that
Yeah.
you always wanted
But
to
I
do. And
didn't know if I would.
fiction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all, like, I got to write, like, I call it my quarter life memoir.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like, I never thought I'd get to do that. I didn't think people would care.
Completely.
So this has been really cool. But, having the opportunity to do this and I have a co-author, Emily Larrabee, that's helped me, like, really organize my thoughts into
Yeah.
a way that, like we've said, like, organization is not.
Completely.
So, like,
to tell
trying
the story.
to tell the story,
Yeah.
has been so huge. And just the encouragement of, like, hey, you have good ideas. Like, you can do this. Like, you
Completely.
can write. You can do this, and let me help you.
Completely.
Has been huge. So I feel like if I wouldn't have had her, it might have been, like, 12 years down the road, but to be able to have it now to share has been really sweet.
Yeah. Ugh, I want to read it.
Yeah, please do.
Excited. It's so cute too.
Thanks.
So pretty. New York Times bestselling author of Mistakes We Never Made. So that's your
That's-
memoir.
No, this is my second.
Oh my
romance novel.
God. Oh my God.
So the first one was Mistakes We Never Made. And,
Okay.
They go in tandem. You can read them together or separately. You don't have to read Mistakes We Never Made before this book.
It's
But
not like the
same,
characters.
It's the same universe. So the
So-
characters
right.
will overlap.
Okay.
The idea for the book actually started with, I took parts of myself and put them into this, like, best friend group of 4 girls, the core 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think one of the best love stories you can have is with your friends and how they support you in your individual journey and the one that you have together.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was, like, the basis of the idea, was actually around this friendship,
Uh-huh.
and then them each having their own
Like-
love story.
Mm-hmm.
So Sybil was in the first book. The first book was set at her wedding weekend gone wrong.
Oh my God. Okay.
And so this kind of follows up on
Yes.
after the runaway bride situation,
Oh
what
my
happens
God.
next.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
That you like you're really making your dreams come true,
Yeah.
you know?
It's been really cool.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so much fun.
Yeah, I
Tell
loved it.
everybody where they can find your book,
Okay.
The 4 Engagement Rings of Sybil Rain,
Yeah.
and everything about you.
Yeah. So you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok for more information about my new book coming out and Bachelor in Paradise, all the
I'm
things.
so excited for
yeah,
that.
it's going to be fun. And the 4 Engagement Rings of Sybil Rain comes out June 24th, so you can find it wherever books are sold.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming.
this was so fun.
So fun.
Yeah.